Two people living in different worlds felt the same emptiness, as if a promise long forgotten was still waiting to be kept. Amara sat by her bedroom window, her fingers brushing against an old, worn-out diary she had found in her grandmother's chest. The diary wasn't hers, yet every word inside felt strangely familiar. Words of longing, of a promise made to someone unnamed, someone she had never met. She whispered the words aloud. No matter how many lifetimes it takes, I'll find you. A chill ran down her spine, as though the words were meant for her. Miles away, in another city, a young man named Ryan uncovered a silver locket hidden in a secondhand bookstore. Inside it was a folded note, aged and fragile, carrying the exact same line. His heart skipped a beat. He didn't know why, but it felt as though the note had been waiting for him all along. Both strangers looked out into the night sky from their own worlds, unaware that destiny had already tied them together long before they were born. Every coincidence was a step closer, but neither of them knew they were walking toward each other. Amara couldn't sleep that night. Dreams haunted her, dreams of a faceless boy whose eyes she couldn't see, but whose voice whispered her name. She woke with tears on her cheeks, clutching the diary against her chest, as though it could protect her. Meanwhile, Ryan found himself restless. He carried the locket in his pocket everywhere he went, feeling incomplete without it. At work, at home, even during his evening walks, the words inside echoed in his mind like a forgotten melody. Their paths began to cross in invisible ways. Mara passed by the bookstore where Ryan had bought the locket. Rayan visited the old library where Amara often spent her weekends. Neither noticed each other, but the air around them carried the weight of a meeting waiting to happen. The world tried to keep them apart, but fate whispered that their story had already begun. Amara started writing in the diary, not knowing why. The words spilled from her heart as though guided by an unseen hand.
Whoa.
She wrote about loneliness, about waiting for someone she couldn't name, and about the strange comfort of believing she wasn't alone. Rayan, too, felt compelled to write. He slipped notes into the locket, speaking to the unknown person it once belonged to. One night he wrote, "If you exist, if you are out there, then find me." Neither of them realized that the more they wrote, the more their worlds bent toward each other. A stormy evening brought them both to the same train station. Amara stood under the shelter, clutching her diary. Rayan just steps away, held the locket tightly in his fist. Rain poured heavily, but it wasn't the storm that shook them. It was the strange pull. The feeling that someone they had been waiting for was standing near. One glance was enough to shake their worlds, but destiny was patient, and it wanted more. Amara raised her head, her eyes brushing past the crowded platform, and for a fleeting moment, she met Rayan's gaze. Time seemed to halt, as She didn't know him, had never seen him before, yet her heart thudded as if she had found something lost. Rayan froze too. The rain blurred everything around him, but not her. The girl with the diary clutched to her chest, wanted to speak, to step forward, but the announcement of the train shattered the moment. The crowd surged between them, and just like that, she was gone. For the rest of the night, both of them couldn't shake the feeling. Two strangers had locked eyes for the first time, and both felt it wasn't the first. Sometimes destiny knocks twice, just to remind you it won't let go. Days passed, yet the memory of that rain-soaked encounter lingered. Amara returned to the station again, pretending she had errands, but secretly hoping she'd see him. She wrote in the diary, "I saw him. I don't know who he is, but I know I wasn't dreaming." Rayan too found himself drawn back. He walked through the station corridors, scanning the faces, telling himself it was ridiculous, but in his heart he hoped. And then, one quiet afternoon, fate gave in. They crossed paths again, this time in the library. Amara reached for a book, and Rayan, on the other side of the shelf, touched the same spine. Their fingers brushed and both froze. Her breath caught. His heart raced. The silence between them was louder than words. Two strangers, one touch, a promise neither of them remembered making. Yet both felt bound to. Mara pulled her hand back quickly, embarrassed, but Rayan spoke first. "Sorry," he said softly, though his voice carried a strange warmth. "It's okay," she replied, her eyes locking onto his. They stood there awkwardly, but neither wanted to walk away. Finally, Amara gestured to the diary in her arms. "I think I've seen you before," Rayan smiled faintly, pulling the locket from his pocket. "Maybe we were meant to meet." The moment stretched between them, delicate and fragile, like a thread finally being tied. For reasons neither understood, both felt safe in that library. Surrounded by silent shelves, a story that had begun lifetimes ago began again. The closer they came, the louder the past whispered, reminding them this wasn't their first love. Amara and Rayan began meeting often. Coffee shops, late walks, endless conversations in the library. Everything between them felt effortless, as if rehearsed long ago. Sometimes they even spoke the same words at the same time, laughing nervously at the strange synchronicity. But beneath the laughter, there was a shadow. Amara often dreamed of fire and separation, of crying out for someone she couldn't reach. Rayan too had visions, flashes of another time, another place, where he held her hand but lost her anyway. One evening, as the sun sank low, Amara whispered, "Does it ever feel like we've done all this before?" Rayan's grip on the locket tightened. Every day, love gave them peace, but the truth threatened to take it all away. Amara finally opened the old diary to its last page, the one she had avoided. The handwriting was shaky, as though written in a rush. "We will not survive this life. Ba, but in the next I will find you. Wait for me where the rain falls." Her blood turned cold. That was the night she had first seen Rayon. In the rain. When she showed him the entry, his face turned pale. From the locket, he pulled the folded note again. This time he noticed something he had missed before. The initials at the bottom. A&R. The silence between them was unbearable. Two strangers, yet not strangers at all. They were a promise. The love that had already died once. It was reborn in them. To love again was a gift. But destiny never forgets the price. As their bond deepened, so did the weight of what they discovered. The diary spoke of betrayal, of forces that tore them apart. The locket spoke of sacrifice, of someone giving up everything to protect the other. Amara grew terrified. What if it happens again? What if this ends the same way? Rayon cupped her face gently. Then at least we'll know we didn't waste this life running away. They kissed under the same oak tree where they had met in the rain. It wasn't just a kiss of love. It was defiance. A vow to rewrite the ending fate had given them once before. But as the wind howled around them, both felt it. The same storm from their dreams was coming. A promise kept across lifetimes can heal or destroy. And they had only one chance to choose. The storm returned the next night, fierce and unrelenting. Thunder roared as Amara and Rayon clung to each other, terrified that this was the night fate had warned them about. Flashes of memory surged through their minds. Past lives, past losses. The moment they had been torn apart before. Amara sobbed, "I can't lose you again." Rayon held her tighter, shouting over the storm, "Then don't let go this time." And so, instead of running, instead of hiding, they stood together. Hand in hand, they faced the storm. The lightning struck, the wind screamed, and for a moment the world seemed to shatter. But when silence returned, they were still there, alive, unbroken, holding each other. The diary's pages were blank. The locket's note had dissolved into nothing. Their past story had ended, finally set free. This life was no longer bound to promises of the past. It was theirs to write anew. Amara leaned against his chest, whispering, "So, where do we begin?" Rayon kissed her forehead softly. "Where all promises lead, forever. And this time, destiny did not take them away." It bowed quietly, letting two strangers finally live the love that had been written for them long before they had even met.